The grand hall of the Deshan Palace stretched higher than any building Jiho had ever seen on Earth. Crystal pillars reached toward a ceiling that seemed to touch the clouds. He stood at his post near the eastern entrance, his human uniform looking plain next to the shimmering armor of the Deshan Royal Guards. Jiho had been working at the palace for 6 months now. It was a good job for a human. Most aliens still saw his people as the newcomers, the junior species who joined the Galactic Council only 200 years ago. But the Deshans were kind. Their queen Valara made sure humans had opportunities in her empire. The queen sat on her throne at the far end of the hall. She was beautiful in the way all Deshans were, with skin that shifted colors like oil on water and eyes that seemed to see everything. She was hearing requests from various planets in her empire, listening carefully to each speaker. Jiho tried not to stare. He was supposed to watch for threats, not gawk at royalty. But it was hard not to be amazed. 200 years ago, humans thought they were alone in the universe. Now he stood guard in an alien palace on a planet 50 light-years from Earth. A group of human diplomats entered the hall. Jiho recognized them from the Earth delegation. They moved to their seats in the guest section, bowing respectfully to the queen. She acknowledged them with a graceful nod. That's when it happened. Queen Valara's hand went to her chest. Her colors flickered, turning dark purple and gray. She tried to stand but stumbled. The court erupted in chaos. Jiho's training kicked in. He ran toward the throne, even though he knew the royal guards would reach her first. He had to do something. But what could a human do that advanced alien medicine couldn't? The High Physician Krell appeared within seconds, his medical scanner already in his hands. Other doctors rushed in with floating equipment that hummed and beeped. They surrounded the queen, blocking Jiho's view. Everyone back. Commander Dax, the security chief, shouted. His voice boomed through the hall. Clear the room immediately. Jiho stopped running. He should leave with everyone else. But something made him stay at the edge of the crowd. He watched carefully, his mind working. The queen was struggling to breathe. Her colors kept changing rapidly, something Jiho had learned meant distress in Deshans. The doctors worked frantically, passing instruments over her body. Their faces showed confusion and fear. I don't understand, High Physician Krell said loudly. All readings show normal function. There's no disease, no poison, no injury. She's dying and you see nothing? Commander Dax grabbed the doctor's arm. Look harder. Jiho's eyes moved across the scene. He had learned to observe details in his military training on Earth. That skill had helped him get this job. Now he used it, studying everything. The queen had been fine moments ago. She was healthy, smiling, listening to speakers. Then the humans entered. She looked at them. She nodded. And then Jiho's breath caught. He had seen something. Right when the queen looked toward the human delegation, her colors had flickered just slightly. It was so quick, most people missed it. But Jiho had been watching from the side. He saw the exact moment. Could the humans have something to do with this? But that made no sense. They were diplomats, peaceful people. They hadn't done anything threatening. They just walked in and sat down. The doctors managed to stabilize the queen. Her breathing became easier. Her colors settled into a pale blue that meant weakness but not immediate danger. They lifted her onto a floating medical bed and rushed her out of the hall. Jiho made a decision. He walked up to High Physician Krell as the alien was packing his equipment. Doctor, Jiho said, I saw something. Krell looked down at him. The Deshan was twice Jiho's height. His expression showed irritation. You saw something? A human guard saw something that my advanced scanners missed? Krell's voice dripped with sarcasm. I noticed the timing, Jiho said, keeping his voice respectful. The queen's distress started right when she looked at the human delegation. Krell's colors, shifted to angry red. Are you suggesting your people attacked our queen? No. I'm just saying there might be a connection. Maybe something about humans. Enough. Krell waved his hand dismissively. The queen has a medical condition. It has nothing to do with humans. Your species always thinks everything revolves around you. You've been in the galaxy for barely 2 centuries. We've been studying medicine for 50,000 years. I don't need observations from a security guard. Jiho felt his face burn with embarrassment and frustration. But he knew better than to argue with a high-ranking Deshan official. He bowed and stepped back. As he returned to his post, his mind kept working. Krell had said condition, which meant this wasn't the first time. The queen had been sick before. How many times? When? Were humans present then too? Jiho needed more information. But who would listen to him? He was just a human guard, and he'd already been dismissed by the head doctor. Still, something was wrong. He could feel it in his gut, that same instinct that had kept him alive during his military service. The queen was in danger, and everyone was looking in the wrong direction. He would investigate on his own. It might cost him his job, maybe worse. But if he was right, if there was a pattern, then Queen Valar's life might depend on someone figuring it out. And if the Deshan doctors wouldn't listen, then a human would have to find the truth. Jiho sat in the small room he shared with another human guard, staring at his datapad. Sleep felt impossible. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the queen collapsing. Saw that moment when she looked at the humans. His roommate was on night duty. So Jiho had the room to himself. Good. He needed to think. The next morning, he went to find Hyan. They'd had met during orientation when Jiho first arrived at the palace. Hyan worked in the archives, organizing millions of records from across the empire. If anyone could help Jiho find information quietly, it was him. Jiho found Hyan in the lower levels of the palace, surrounded by floating data screens. The archive room was massive, filled with glowing crystals that stored information going back thousands of years. Jiho. Hyan looked up from his work. I heard about yesterday. Crazy, right? Is the queen okay? Stable, last I heard, Jiho said. He looked around to make sure they were alone. Hyan, I need a favor. Can you search the medical records? I want to know if the queen has been sick before. Hyan's smile faded. Medical records are private. I could get fired. I know. I wouldn't ask if it wasn't important. Jiho lowered his voice. I think something strange is happening. I need to know when she got sick and who was around. Hyan studied his friend's face for a long moment. Then he sighed. You always were terrible at staying out of trouble. Fine. But if we get caught, I'm blaming you completely. His fingers moved across the screens, typing in commands. Data flowed past an alien script that Jiho couldn't read. After several minutes, Hyan whistled softly. This is interesting, he said. The queen has had 3 attacks in the past 2 months. Yesterday was the 3rd. Before that, nothing. She's been healthy for decades. 3 attacks in 2 months, Jiho repeated. Can you see what was happening when she got sick? Hyan dug deeper into the records. His expression grew more serious. First attack was during a cultural exchange event. Second was at a private dinner. Third was yesterday in the Grand Hall. Were humans present at all 3 events? More typing. Then Hyan looked at Jiho with wide eyes. Yes, humans were at all 3 events. Not the same humans, but there were always some present. Jiho felt cold. So it is connected to us. Or it's a coincidence, Hyan said quickly. Humans work all over the palace now. We're at lots of events. Maybe. But Jiho didn't believe in coincidences, not like this. Can you get me security footage from those events? Now you want me to access security files too? Hyan shook his head, but he was already typing. You're going to get us both thrown out of the palace. The footage appeared on the screens. Jiho watched carefully, studying each event. The first attack happened at a gallery opening, where human and Dacian artists displayed their work. The queen walked through the gallery, speaking with artists. Then she approached a group that included 3 humans. Minutes later, she collapsed. The second attack was harder to see. The dinner was small, only 20 people. But Jiho could make out the moment. The queen was talking with a Dacian diplomat. A human server approached to refill drinks. The queen glanced at the server, smiled politely, then her colors started to shift. She made it through another 5 minutes before the attack hit. It's always when she's near humans or looking at them, Jiho said. But that doesn't make sense. She's been around humans for years without problems. A voice spoke from behind them. What are you two doing? Jiho spun around. Taemin stood in the doorway. He was a human medical consultant who worked in the palace medical bay, studying how human medicine might help alien species. Taemin. Hyan quickly closed the screens. We were just investigating the queen's illness without authorization, Taemin finished. He walked closer, his face serious. I saw the medical reports from yesterday. High Physician Krell is baffled. The queen's symptoms don't match any known Dacian disease. What kind of symptoms? Jiho asked. Taemin hesitated. I shouldn't tell you this. But if you're investigating, you should know what you're looking for. He pulled out his own data pad. Her cardiac system shows stress patterns. Her neural activity spikes right before each attack. It's almost like an allergic reaction. But to what? We can't find any allergen. An allergic reaction to humans? Jiho said. Impossible, Taemin replied. Humans and Dacians have been in close contact for 200 years. If there was an allergy, we'd have seen it before now. Jiho's mind raced. Unless something changed recently. Something about the humans around her, or about her reaction to humans. Before they could discuss further, Jiho's communicator beeped. It was Nari, the human cultural liaison. Her message was urgent. Meet me in the garden immediately. Important. Jiho found Nari pacing near the royal gardens. She grabbed his arm the moment she saw him. Stop investigating, she said. Please, Jiho. Some of the Dacian courtiers are starting to talk. They think humans are behind the queen's attacks. They think we're trying to assassinate her. That's ridiculous. Is it? From their perspective, the queen starts getting sick right when more humans join the palace staff. They're scared, and scared people look for someone to blame. Nari's grip tightened. If you keep digging, you'll make it worse. They'll think you're part of the conspiracy. I'm trying to help her, Jiho protested. I know, but perception matters. Nari let go of his arm. Be careful. That's all I'm saying. As she left, Jiho noticed Sora working in the garden nearby. The botanist was tending to alien plants with delicate care. He walked over to her double quotes, Sora. Can I ask you something? Have you noticed anything strange about the queen's gardens lately? Sora looked up, wiping dirt from her hands. Strange? Well, there was one weird thing. I brought some flowers from Earth last month. Beautiful roses, very fragrant. I thought they'd look nice in the royal section. But they were removed the next day. No explanation, just gone. I asked why, but nobody would tell me. Did the queen see them? I don't think so. They were gone before her morning walk. Jiho filed that information away. Flowers removed, no explanation. Another mystery. That evening, a state dinner was held. The queen attended, looking weak, but determined to fulfill her duties. Jiho was on duty at the dinner, standing along the wall with other guards. He watched the queen carefully. She seemed fine, talking with various dignitaries. Then Yuna approached, a young human diplomat who had arrived at the palace just last week. She bowed deeply before the queen. The queen smiled and extended her hand in the Theshan gesture of welcome. Yuna took it, speaking words Jiho couldn't hear from his position. Then the queen's colors shifted. Her hand went to her chest. She stumbled backward. Not again. The room erupted in chaos. But this time, Commander Dax pointed directly at Jiho. "Arrest him," the security chief ordered. "This human has been investigating these attacks. He knew they would happen. Arrest him for conspiracy against the queen." Theshan guards grabbed Jiho's arms before he could protest. They dragged him from the room as he watched the doctors rush to save the queen once more. In a cell beneath the palace, Jiho sat alone in the dark, wondering if he'd ever get the chance to prove his theory. Time was running out for Queen Valara, and now he was trapped, unable to help. The cell was cold and dark. Jiho sat on the hard bench, his mind refusing to rest. He had been here for 6 hours. No one would tell him what was happening with the queen. The door finally opened. Teemin stepped in, carrying his medical bag. A Theshan guard stood behind him. 5 minutes, the guard said, then closed the door. Teemin sat down next to Jiho and spoke quietly. "The queen is alive. Barely. That last attack was the worst yet. High Physician Krell is talking about putting her in suspended sleep to save her life." "I didn't do anything to her," Jiho said. "I know. I told them that. Some people believe me, but Commander Dax is convinced humans are involved somehow." Teemin pulled out his datapad. "Listen, I don't have much time. I've been thinking about what you said. An allergic reaction. What if it's not an allergy to human biology, but to something else about humans?" "What do you mean?" "I've been studying alien-human interactions for years. There's a researcher, Mina, who specializes in how different species perceive each other. I contacted her. She's coming to the palace." Tamin's hands moved across his pad, showing Jiho charts and diagrams. Theshans have something humans don't. They evolved with the ability to sense emotional frequencies. Emotional frequencies? Think of emotions as energy waves. Most species can only detect these through behavior, body language, facial expressions. But Theshans have a sixth sense. They can actually feel what others are feeling, like a physical sensation. It helped their ancestors survive by knowing if someone was friend or enemy. Jiho's mind started to race. So the queen can feel emotions? All Theshans can, to some degree. But royalty are more sensitive. They're bred that way over thousands of years. It helps them understand their people. Teemin leaned closer. What if the queen isn't having heart attacks? What if her cardiac system is reacting to something she's sensing from humans? "But she's been around humans for years," Jiho said. "Why now?" "That's what we need to figure out." Teemin stood up as the guard opened the door. "Mina will be here tomorrow. Until then, try not to worry. Some of us know you're innocent." After Teemin left, Jiho sat in the darkness, thinking about emotional frequencies. What emotions were humans feeling that could hurt the queen? The next day, Commander Dax came to his cell. The security chief looked tired and worried. "You're being released," Dax said. "But don't leave the palace. We still have questions. Is the queen? She's in critical condition. The doctors don't know how to help her." For the first time, Dax's harsh expression softened. "High Physician Krell reviewed the security footage you accessed with your friend in the archives. He saw the pattern too. If you have any other ideas, now is the time to share them." Jiho was taken to a conference room. Teemin was there, along with a woman Jiho didn't recognize. She had kind eyes and short black hair. "I'm Mina," she said, shaking Jiho's hand. "I'm a neuroscientist specializing in cross-species emotional perception." Teemin explained your theory. "I think you might be right. She activated a large display screen. Images and data filled it. Humans are unique in the galaxy, Mina began. Every species experiences emotions, but humans experience them with unusual intensity. Joy, sadness, anger, love, fear. Humans feel these emotions more strongly than any other known species. It's part of what makes us good artists, musicians, storytellers. It's also what made us survive on Earth despite being physically weak compared to other apex predators. How does that hurt the Queen? Jiho asked. Dacians sense emotions as electromagnetic frequencies. Think of it like hearing. A whisper is fine, but a scream can hurt your ears. To a Dacian, most species' emotions are like whispers. They can sense them easily. But human emotions might be like screams. Teenan added, I ran tests on the Queen's cardiac readings. Her system isn't failing. It's being overwhelmed. Like a circuit getting too much power. But why only recently? Jiho pressed. Humans have worked here for months. Mina brought up more data. Emotions aren't constant. They change based on what we're feeling at the moment. Most of the time, humans around the Queen feel normal emotions. Respect, curiosity, maybe a little nervousness. These are manageable. But what if someone felt something extremely intense near her? Something the Queen's senses couldn't handle? Jiho thought back to the attacks. At the gallery, what had those humans been feeling? At the dinner, what about that server? And yesterday, Yuna, Jiho said suddenly. She was terrified when she spoke to the Queen. I could see it in her eyes. Terrified. Mina asked. The door opened and Yuna herself walked in, escorted by a guard. She looked frightened and embarrassed. They told me to come here, she said quietly. Am I in trouble? No, Mina said gently. But we need to ask you something. When you spoke to the Queen yesterday, what were you feeling? Yuna's face turned red. I don't want to say. Please, Temin urged. The Queen is dying. We think your emotions might have triggered her attack, but we need to understand why. Tears filled Yuna's eyes. I was scared, and I felt guilty, because... She took a shaky breath. Because I have feelings for her. For the Queen. I know it's wrong. She's an alien, she's royalty, and I'm just a junior diplomat. But I can't help it. When I saw her, all I could think was how beautiful she is and how impossible it all is. I felt like I was betraying her by even thinking those thoughts. Mina and Temin exchanged looks. Intense, suppressed emotions, Mina said. Fear mixed with love and guilt. That's a powerful combination. But Yuna wasn't at all for attacks, Jiho pointed out. There has to be more. Temin pulled up records. Let me check who was present at each event. His fingers moved quickly. The gallery opening. The private dinner. Yesterday's state dinner. And the first attack in the Grand Hall. He stopped. There's one human who was present at all 4 events. Someone who works close to the Queen every day. They all looked at the name on the screen. Seung, the Queen's personal attendant. Seung has served her for 5 years, Jiho said. He's completely loyal. Everyone knows that. Loyalty and love aren't the same thing, Mina said softly. We need to talk to him, now. They found Seung in the Queen's medical chamber. He sat beside her suspended sleep pod, his head in his hands. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. When he saw them enter, he stood up quickly. Is something wrong? Did something change with her condition? Seung, Tim said carefully. We need to ask you about your feelings for the Queen. Seung's face went pale. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then, slowly, he sank back into his chair. I tried so hard to hide it, he whispered. I never wanted anyone to know. I especially never wanted her to know. How long? Maya asked gently. 3 years. Maybe longer. I don't know when it started. She's so kind, so wise, so beautiful. I know it's impossible. I know I can never. But I can't stop feeling this way. Every day, it gets harder to be near her and pretend I don't." His voice broke. Jiho felt a chill run through him. 3 years of hidden love. Intense, desperate, impossible love. Growing stronger every day. And the Queen, with her enhanced senses, feeling it all. "The attack started 2 months ago," Timon said. "What changed 2 months ago, Soong?" Soong covered his face with his hands. "She started talking about finding a mate. A proper Deshan mate. I knew it would happen eventually, but hearing her discuss it, I wanted to be happy for her. But inside, I was dying. Every time she mentioned it, I felt like my heart would break. I tried so hard to control it, to push the feelings down. But they just got stronger. And suppressing them made them more intense," Mina said. "A Deshan wouldn't just sense your love. They'd sense the pain, the longing, the desperate attempt to hide it all. It would hit them like a wave of pure emotional energy." Soong looked at the Queen in her pod, his eyes full of grief. "I've been killing her? All this time, just by being near her, I've been hurting her?" No one knew what to say. The truth was terrible but clear. Jiho finally spoke. "We need to tell High Physician Krell. If we understand the cause, maybe we can find a cure." But as they left to find the doctor, Jiho wondered, how do you cure someone of love? And even if they could, would Soong survive losing the only thing that gave his life meaning? High Physician Krell listened to their explanation in his office. His colors shifted through several shades as Mina presented her research. When she finished, he was silent for a long time. "Emotional frequencies," he finally said. "We know Deshans can sense them, but we never considered that human emotions could be dangerous." "Not all human emotions," Mina corrected. "Only extremely intense ones. And specifically, the kind that humans specialize in. Romantic love." Krell looked at Soong, who stood with his head down, shame radiating from every part of his body. "You love the Queen." "Yes," Soong whispered. "I'm sorry. I never meant to hurt her. I would die before I hurt her." "You may have to," Krell said coldly. "If your presence is killing her, you cannot remain near her." "No." Soong's head shot up. "Please, I'll stay away. I'll leave the palace entirely, but don't send me away while she's like this. Let me see her wake up. Let me know she's safe. Then I'll go anywhere you want." Commander Dax entered the office. "The royal court has been informed. They want Soong executed." Everyone started talking at once. Jiho stepped forward. "Execution? He didn't attack her. He didn't do anything wrong. His emotions are a weapon," Dax said. "A weapon he used against our Queen, intentionally or not. The court sees no difference." "Then the court is wrong," Jiho shot back. "Humans can't control who they love. It's not a weapon. It's just part of who we are." "A dangerous part," Krell muttered. He looked at Timon. "Can you measure the intensity of this human's emotional output?" Timon pulled out a modified scanner. "This isn't designed for emotions, but I can try to measure neural activity and compare it to baseline human readings." He approached Soong. "Think about the Queen. Don't hide your feelings. Just think about her." Soong closed his eyes. His breathing became uneven. The scanner in Tamon's hands started beeping rapidly, numbers climbing on its display. "Incredible," Timon breathed. "His neural activity is 3 times normal human baseline. And this is while he's calm. When she's nearby, interacting with him, these readings would be even higher. And the Queen senses all of that," Mina added, "amplified through her enhanced perception. It would be like standing next to an explosion of emotional energy." Krell's colors turned decisive. Then we must remove all humans from the Queen's presence. Permanently. That won't help her now, Teeman argued. She's already in critical condition. Removing the source won't heal the damage. We need to understand this better if we want to save her. Before they could continue, alarms started blaring. A medical technician burst into the room. The Queen! Her condition is worsening. She's crashing. Everyone ran to the medical chamber. Inside the transparent pod, Queen Valara's body was convulsing. Her colors flashed wildly. The machines around her screamed warnings. What's happening? Krell demanded. She's in suspended sleep. There's no stimulus. Soong pushed past the guards and pressed his hands against the pod. Please, no. Please, hold on. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. The monitors showed the Queen's vital signs dropping rapidly. We're losing her, a technician called out. Increase the suspension field. Krell ordered. It's already at maximum. Jiho watched Soong crying against the pod, watched the Queen dying inside it. Something Mina had said earlier came back to him. Suppressing emotions made them stronger. Soong had been suppressing his love for years. Every day, pushing it down, hiding it, making it more intense. But what if he stopped? Soong, Jiho said urgently. What if you're doing it wrong? What? Soong looked at him with tear-filled eyes. You're trying to hide your feelings, to push them away. That makes them more intense. What if you need to do the opposite? What if you need to let them out? That would kill her for sure, Krell snapped. Even more emotional energy pouring into her system? Maybe not, Mina said slowly, understanding Jiho's idea. Suppressed emotions have a different quality than expressed emotions. They're chaotic, desperate, painful. But expressed emotions, honest emotions, they're cleaner. They have a different frequency. You want him to confess his love to a dying woman? Dax said incredulously. This is madness. It might be her only chance, Teeman said. He looked at the dropping vital signs. We have nothing else to try. She has minutes left. Krell hesitated, then made a decision. Open a communication channel to the pod. Let her hear him, even in suspended sleep. A technician activated the communication system. A microphone extended toward Seung. Seung looked at it, then at the Queen's failing body. His hand shook. I don't know what to say, he admitted. The truth, Mina said gently. Just tell her the truth. All of it. Don't hold anything back. Soong took a deep breath. When he spoke, his voice cracked with emotion. Your Majesty. Valara, I need to tell you something I should have said years ago. I love you. I've loved you since the first day I came to serve you. You smiled at me, a nobody from a young species, and treated me like I mattered. Every day since then, I've loved you more. The monitors continued their awful descent. I know it's wrong. I know I'm not worthy. You're a queen, beautiful and wise and eternal. I'm just a human who will grow old and die while you're still young. I know I can never be with you. I know you don't feel the same way. I don't expect you to. He pressed his forehead against the pod. But I can't keep pretending anymore. I can't keep hiding. My love for you is the truest thing in my life. It's not dark or twisted or painful. It's beautiful. You are beautiful. I'm not sorry for loving you. I'm only sorry that my love hurt you. Tears ran down his face. I would give anything to take back the pain I caused. But I won't take back the love. You deserve to be loved, even if it's by someone impossible like me. You deserve to know that someone sees you, not just as a queen, but as a person. Someone who thinks you're the most wonderful being in the universe. He stopped, unable to continue. The room was silent, except for the medical equipment. Then, slowly, the alarms began to quiet. Our vitals are stabilizing, a technician said. Shock in his voice. That's impossible, Krell said. But he was staring at the monitors that showed the Queen's vital signs beginning to climb. The emotional frequency changed, Mina said, watching her own instruments. It's still intense, but it's different. Instead of chaotic and suppressed, it's pure, honest. The Queen's colors began to settle. Her convulsing stopped. The machine showed her body relaxing, healing. She's going to make it, Timon said, hardly believing his own words. Soon collapsed to his knees, sobbing with relief and exhaustion. Jiho put a hand on his shoulder. You saved her, Jiho said quietly. By confessing my love? Soon laughed bitterly through his tears. Now she'll wake up knowing her servant has inappropriate feelings for her. I've made everything worse. But the monitors showed otherwise. For the first time in 2 months, Queen Valara was truly stable. Her body was healing from the damage of the previous attacks. Krell approached Sung slowly. You will still need to leave her service. The court will demand it. But perhaps you saved her life today. I'll leave, Sung said. I'll go far away. As long as she lives, I can bear anything. As the medical team worked to bring the Queen out of suspended sleep, Jiho stood with Mina and Timon. This changes everything, Mina said. Human emotions aren't just intense. They're powerful in ways we never understood. Love, real human love, is unlike anything else in the galaxy. It's dangerous, Timon agreed, but also beautiful, and maybe exactly what the galaxy needs to understand about humanity. She's waking up, Krell announced. Everyone turned to watch as Queen Valara's eyes slowly opened. She looked confused, weak, but alive. Her gaze moved around the room until it found Sung, and she smiled. Queen Valara sat up slowly in the medical pod. Her colors were still pale, but they were stable and growing stronger. High Physician Krell helped her stand, his scanner constantly checking her vitals. How long was I asleep? She asked, her voice weak but clear. 3 days in suspended sleep, Your Majesty, Krell answered. Before that, you were unconscious for 2 days after the 4th attack. 4th attack? The Queen looked confused. I remember the state dinner, speaking with the young diplomat Yuna, and then, pain. So much pain. Her eyes found Sung, who stood at the back of the room, trying to make himself invisible. And I remember. A voice. Someone speaking to me in the darkness. Sung's face went white. He bowed deeply. Your Majesty, I apologize. I overstepped. I said things that were inappropriate. I will leave immediately and never trouble you again. No, the Queen said firmly. The room went silent. Stay. I want to understand what happened to me. And I want to understand what you said. Before anyone could respond, an old Deshan entered the medical chamber. She was ancient even by Deshan standards, her skin showing the deep colors of extreme age. Everyone bowed. Elder Physician Mara, Krell said with surprise. We didn't summon you. I summoned myself, the old woman said. Her voice was like wind through crystals. I heard the young queen nearly died from contact with humans. I came because I know what this is. She approached Queen Valara, studying her with eyes that had seen millennia pass. You are suffering from the touch of the Burning Ones, Mara said. The Burning Ones? Valara asked. Mara nodded slowly. Ancient Deshan texts from before we joined the galactic community speak of a prophecy. One day, we would meet a species whose emotions burned like stars. They would be dangerous to us, but also precious beyond measure. We called them the Burning Ones. She turned to look at all the humans in the room. Jiho, Taemin, Mina, Sung, and the others who had gathered. Humans are the Burning Ones, Mara continued. Your capacity for emotion is unprecedented in the galaxy. You don't just feel joy or sadness or anger. You feel these things with an intensity that can be physically measured. And love, she looked at Sung, Human romantic love is the strongest force I have ever encountered. It nearly killed me, Valara said softly. Because it was suppressed, Mara explained. Suppressed emotions become toxic. They twist and darken. But honest emotion, pure and freely expressed, is different. It has a different frequency. One that can heal rather than harm. She gestured to Sung. This one loves you. I can sense it even from here. His love is like a sun. But when he hid it, ashamed and afraid, it became like radiation. It poisoned you slowly. When he finally spoke his truth, the love became clean again. And it saved you. The queen looked at Sung with an expression no one could read. You love me. Yes, your majesty, Sung said, his voice barely a whisper. I know it's inappropriate. I know I should leave. Inappropriate? Valara laughed softly. You're a member of a species I barely understand, who feels emotions I can't even imagine. Perhaps inappropriate is inevitable. She grew serious. But Sung, if your emotions are so powerful, how can you stay near me? Won't they hurt me again? This time, it was Hana who spoke. She had arrived that morning, a specialist in human emotional regulation brought in by Mina. That's what I'm here to help with, Hana said. Humans can learn to manage our emotions. Not suppress them, but express them in healthy ways. Sung's love for you doesn't have to be hidden. It can exist openly, honestly. That changes its nature. And for Deshans, Mara added, we can learn to shield ourselves from emotional frequencies when needed. Our ancestors knew this. We simply forgot when we stopped encountering species with intense emotions. High Physician Krell looked uncomfortable. The royal court still demands action. They want all humans removed from positions near the queen. No, Valara said firmly. Her colors shifted to the deep purple of royal authority. The court doesn't rule here. I do. And I will not punish humans for being who they are. If anything, we Deshans need to adapt. She stood up fully, though she still looked weak. Summon the court. I will address them myself. 2 days later, Queen Valara stood before her assembled court. She looked tired but determined. Behind her stood Sung, Jiho, Taemin, Mina, Hana, and Elder Mara. My people, the queen began. I nearly died. Many of you blame humans for this. You're right to, but not in the way you think. Murmurs ran through the court. Humans didn't attack me. Their emotions did, but only because I didn't understand them. Humans are not like us. They don't feel emotions as background sensations. They feel them as powerful, driving forces. Love, for a human, is not a mild preference. It's an all-consuming passion. She gestured to Sung. This human loves me. His love was so intense, it overwhelmed my senses when he tried to hide it. But when he finally expressed it honestly, it became something beautiful. Something that saved my life. A courtier stood. Your Majesty, are you saying we should allow humans to express inappropriate feelings toward you? I'm saying that human feelings are not the same as ours, Valara replied. What seems inappropriate is simply their nature, and we must learn to coexist with that nature, not fear it. Elder Mara stepped forward. The ancient texts speak of this. The Burning Ones would challenge us, frighten us, but ultimately make us stronger. Humans feel deeply. This makes them extraordinary artists, loyal friends, passionate advocates. Yes, it can be dangerous for species like ours who sense emotions, but it's also a gift to the galaxy. I propose new protocols, the Queen announced. Humans working with emotionally sensitive species will receive training in emotional expression. We Deshans will learn better shielding techniques. And we will study this further, so no one else suffers as I did. She looked directly at Sung. As for my personal attendant, I ask that he be allowed to continue his service, if he wishes. His emotions no longer harm me now that they're not hidden. and I would miss his presence. Soong's eyes filled with tears. He bowed deeply. I would be honored, Your Majesty. The court debated for hours, but in the end, they agreed to the Queen's proposal. The alternative was admitting their Queen's judgment was wrong, and no one wanted to do that. Over the following months, changes swept through the palace and beyond. Humans in positions with emotionally sensitive aliens received training. Dacians learned ancient shielding techniques. Research began into human emotions and their effects on other species. Jiho was promoted to head of a new department, Human Integration Security. His job was to prevent situations like the Queen's illness from happening again. Timin and Mina published papers on human emotional intensity that changed how the galaxy viewed humanity. No longer were humans seen as just another young species. They were unique, powerful, and necessary. Seung continued to serve Queen Valara. Their relationship remained professional, but warmer than before. Valara began to appreciate the depth of human emotion, even if she couldn't fully feel it herself. And Seung learned that expressing his love honestly didn't mean it had to be reciprocated. Loving someone could be enough in itself. One day, 6 months after the incident, Valara called Seung to her private garden. She sat on a bench, looking thoughtful. Seung, I've been thinking about what Elder Mara said. About human love being unprecedented in the galaxy. Yes, Your Majesty. I can't love you the way you love me. Dacians don't feel romantic love that intensely. It's simply not in our nature. She paused. But I value you. I care about your well-being. I'm grateful that you're in my life. Is that enough? Seung smiled. It's more than enough, Your Majesty. I never expected anything. Just being near you, knowing you're safe and happy. That's all I need. That's very human of you, she said with a gentle laugh. I suppose it is, he agreed as Seung left the garden. He passed Jiho, who's making his security rounds. How are you doing? Jiho asked. Good, Seung said honestly. Really good. No more regrets about confessing your feelings? None at all. It freed me. I spent years being afraid of my own heart. Now I can just feel what I feel. It's peaceful. Jiho watched his friend walk away, thinking about how far they'd all come. Humans were still the newcomers to the galactic stage, still learning their place. But now the galaxy was learning something too. Humans were the burning ones. Their emotions were intense, powerful, sometimes dangerous. But those same emotions made them capable of extraordinary love, loyalty, and courage. The galaxy would never be the same. And maybe that was exactly what it needed. In her garden, Queen Valara sat among flowers from a dozen worlds, including earth roses that Sora had finally been allowed to plant. The Queen had learned to shield herself from overwhelming emotions, but she kept her shields low around trusted friends. She could sense Seung's love for her, constant and warm like sunlight. It no longer hurt. Instead, it felt like being valued, treasured, protected. She might never love him back the same way, but she could appreciate the gift he gave her simply by being who he was. The Burning Ones had arrived in her galaxy. And despite the pain they'd caused, Valara was grateful for them. After all, what was life without passion? What was existence without love? The humans had taught her that some things were worth burning for,